Before we go any further, I think Deborah Stamp would like to talk. She would like to make a comment about our food pantry. Deborah?
Mayor and council members. First of all, I want to thank you for your support of our pantry now going on 6 years. We have been blessed with a lot of people coming forth anonymously to place food in the pantry. And sometimes we have 500 to 600 items going out a week. So it's been very helpful to our community. Recently, the good news is LP approached us about putting a cooler underneath the pantry. And that will allow us to have water that's cold during the summer. And some items can be placed there, like milk perhaps. So they're coming on April 23rd, and the actual employees are doing it. So we're just really thankful for LP, and they're going to take care of all the materials, and they're going to put a little bit of a concrete pad down. And they're going to work on it this week, and then I'll present it to you. I'll bring it by, and you can look at it. But I don't think it's going to change the dimension of what it is. It's just going to be underneath, and they're going to wire it with solar. So, should be a success. But again, thank you for all your hard work and what you do for our community.
Okay, thank you, Deborah. As we begin our meeting, we're going to continue with the normal comments that we allow at this time. But it's going to be different from the meeting last Thursday. Tonight we're going to strictly hold you to 3 minutes. And if you go over that, you're going to get the gavel, okay? But also, we're not going to allow any criticism of any particular person or department. You know, we've heard you at your last meeting, and we've listened. But what may or may not happen in the past is in the past. And tonight, we are looking at the future. Tonight's meeting is called for this city council and mayor to decide the direction that the police department goes in the future. And so if you have a comment that you would like to come and state your opinion of why you feel like we should keep the police department, or if you have an opinion that you believe that we should contract out to the sheriff's department, then that's fine. But we need to keep our comments to that, okay? So I'm not acting rude, I'm not being rude or anything like that. But we're here tonight to discuss the future of the police department. So if you'd like to come and make a comment, then you're welcome to come. Anybody?
Good afternoon.
Based on what has occurred with this police department, You are not responsible for the weather, but you are responsible for knowing what is going on. And that did not happen. And that is clear from the report today issued by the district attorney. It is in his inventory that was published today. In the event you all feel that you're qualified to make a decision, why is it necessary to have all or nothing? Right now, the city of Hanceville is not in a position to hire a brand new police force. You also, right now, have already contracted out with Cullman County Sheriff's Office. Could someone tell me how much it is costing to have Cullman County Sheriff's Office cover the city of Hanceville? Does anybody have a number?
We may get that before you.
Okay. So then, why does the decision have to be made? Why is the decision not to be taken? And either contract out with another police force for a period of 15 months. So that gives Hanceville the time to rebuild their police department with qualified people, chosen by people who are qualified.
Amen.
Those people.
Thank you.
Because this does not have to be an all or nothing decision. Because I want to know what makes Cullman County Sheriff's Office qualified to do it. It's my understanding that 4 of the Hanceville policemen that were arrested came from Cullman County Sheriff's Office. Is that correct?
Yes.
So is your opinion on the board that those are
Yes. Hallelujah.
Good afternoon, I'm Bo Garrison. I live in White City, but I pastor a church here in the city of Hanceville. And it's my understanding that we need a police force. We've had one. I'm 67 years old. We've always had a police force. I think we need to rebuild this police force from the ground up. What used to work don't work no more. We need to start all over for a clean slate, whatever happened. And as far as these are enchanted by the board here, this is election year, ain't it? Get out and vote. If you feel like you're qualified to put yourself on the ballot, get out and vote. But I believe we, as our churches over here, I believe we need a police department. And we stand fully behind it. And I think that we need qualified people choosing our police department. I think that's really important. I've been reorganizing all my life, and I know that it's time now for reorganization.
I think that this question here really has to do that is in the past. We're looking at the future. What do we need? How do we go forward? Okay. How do we go forward? Well, the police chief would definitely have a part in it. Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
I don't know our finances specifically. I understand that there's a big gap between the Hanceville Police Department looking at and say the county sheriff's or county police department. Is there a gap? Can we afford to hire qualified police officers like they do have in Kansas City?
Well, that's a good question, and that is one of those questions that really we have to have time to investigate to see exactly where that would take us. Yes, ma'am.
Okay, because I guess not knowing where our budget lines, if all of our money is collected just from the Hanceville City residents. I guess that's what's gonna help make that decision, is if we report to the board with extremely qualified people that need and deserve to be paid.
And that's a very good question.
Okay. I guess it's right. Will you inform us later, or?
Yes, ma'am. Thank you. You state your name and address, okay?
My name is Jacqueline Twist. I live on Hanceville Street in Hanceville. I've been a resident here for 18 months. It didn't take me that long to realize that there was some shady stuff going on in Hanceville. I didn't realize the extent of it. As far as the police department goes, I've heard the term bandied around about oversight. We need citizen oversight. Isn't that your job as the councilman? Should you not have been the ones that were doing the oversight of the police department? And if we rebuild the police department, which I think you should, who's going to be doing the oversight? And who did that police chief report to? You guys not do the oversight? Did he not report to the mayor? Did you guys find him last time? Or find him? Okay. Okay. I think that we need to rebuild the police department. I think we need to re-elect all you guys, and not re-elect you guys, but get new people out there that will do the oversight of the police department like it should have been done.
And there will be an election. I think it's August 26th. August 26th.
Hello, my name is Carl Brad. I'd like to request the council table the decision of whether or not to have a police department. Police coverage of the last meeting said the overwhelming majority wanted to keep the police department. However, the poll taken by Cullman village are 88% in favor of abolishing it. In a town of over 3,000 citizens, the 3,000 or so that showed up in the last meeting are not necessarily representing what the majority of the citizens want. The best thing to do is to allow the citizens to decide the issue by putting it on the next election ballot and work to provide as much information to the citizens as possible so they can make an informed decision. A former Hanceville mayor suggested letting the elected council decide the issue was also a reason why John Adams wrote that liberty cannot be preserved without killing all of the people. On March the 1st, I submitted a public records request to the city council and yet to see the records are requested. I went to City Hall and talked to the mayor about being able to inspect the records. I was interested in and was told that I could not. I was asked to go out and sign a form that stated I could charge $1 a page and I have to make a deposit. I'm aware that others have requested information in the city regarding the claim that prior to the dispatcher's death, an effort was made to reach out for help. Alabama Code 361240 states that every citizen has a right to inspect and take a copy of any public writing in the state. The government issued Executive Order 734 in 2023 instructing how open records affairs should be handled. I request that Hanceville comply with the EO and the Alabama Open Records Act, but is unclear whether they will do so. Please provide the requested public records and the issue today. We've only had 2 weeks to see how Cullman County performs. If the plan here is to have the same mayor and council just hire different police officers but nothing else changed, that would be Einstein's definition of insanity, trying the same thing over and over again and expecting different results. Before deciding to go against Grand Jury's recommendation, please tell the citizens exactly what is going to be done differently to ensure the proper supervision and training of the Hanceville Police Department. The mayor and council will ensure that citizens will not be getting their civil rights violated going forward at the hands of the Hanceville Police Department. Thank you.
And just to be clear, if you remember, I believe there were 3 or 4 people in the hallway there when we talked that day. And I don't think I told you that you couldn't get those. I told you there was a process to go through to retrieve them. Is that right? Is that correct?
Well, I recall asking if I could extract records and told me that
I told you there was a process to go through to get those.
Yeah.
Anything, if you remember, I told you anything that we're allowed to give you, we would be glad to give you, but there's a process to go through.
And I'm not trying to, I'm just simply saying, my records, I think that you need more information, and, I'm sure that, I want to give you an opportunity to apply that asshole. And I know that there are times you probably will take this time on, so.
I just want to make that clear.
Yeah, my point is just that I'd like to know more information, I think the information is
I'm Dan Davis. I live in Hanceville, and this board last week they said we need the public sector to come forward too, and we hear it all the time. If you see something, say something. And I just want to say that I'm the one that recorded that video at Wallace State at the unsecured firearm, and that was 2 years ago. And I didn't no more feel good about it. And I gave that video to Morgan Hightower at WPRC 6 News because I was, after all of this is going on, and my intuition was I didn't know which one of those, there were like 4 young men in there. I didn't know which one was a police officer, but I watched carefully. I wasn't about to go up and go around trying to find out who it was. And I just want to say that that Wallace State Wellness Center is it's open to the public. Anybody can come in and out of there, and it's welcome to anyone from 18 to 80. And there are some grandparents there that bring their grandchildren there.
Okay, sir.
And I try to submit this information to the DA's office.
This we've already said.
Okay, but
we're already saying.
Okay, but this is really important.
Well, no, sir, this is not the time for that. This is the time for you to give your comment on why you think we need to continue.
We need to rip it out by the root,
okay,
for it never to return.
Okay.
That's my humble opinion.
Okay, sure.
And I saw something, now I'm coming forward to say something. And if you ever...
That's what we were looking for,
Okay.
right there.
So that's what I'm doing. And I have more information here that I tried to give to the DA the other day, and he said that the sheriff's office is handling the investigation.
Yes, sir.
And since the high sheriff is here,
if you will bring
bring
that by the office, we'll take it up there to him if that's where it is.
You'll take it.
I'll go with you, or you can go with me. And
I don't want to go to the sheriff's office.
I'll be glad to take it.
I went to I talked to okay. Well, I called my brother and he said, "Hey, carry it up to Champ Crocker."
Sir, that's it.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'd like to challenge each one of y'all. Let's do something for Hanceville that we can get a bang for our buck. Because for what we've been spending our money on, from what I saw on my TV screen, we've just been causing more problems, not helping more problems. And I've been telling you, I've told y'all before, and Mr. Campbell told you, they target the older people because they still.
Mr. Sansing, that is not what we're here for, okay? We're not, Mr. Sansing, that is not what we're here for, sir.
And that's why we need to do it.
I will have you carried out, okay? Sheriff, Mr. Sansing needs to be escorted
I
out.
don't want to be
Well, you're going to, because you're not sticking to what we're here for.
right, sir. It's a person
Okay.
that I have a right to freedom. And y'all, and it happened a while ago that Mr. Nuss told me. No, you're running wrong.
Mr. Sansing, that is not what we're here for.
Well, I think we should do away with the police department.
Council. My name is Eric Maldonado. I reside here in Hanceville. This is my address. I vote here. Sir, as mayor, I mean you no disrespect. This is my first constitutional amendment to speak on whatever I'd like to for the
You're not at this point, sir.
Sir,
Listen,
the
we're
3 minutes you allotted me, you need to respect my opinion due to my constitutional amendment.
I will.
And that is the problem with this community. It starts with you. That's why our police department's corrupt. Because they don't even know their business.
I will if your opinion gets to the subject that
Yes,
we're
sir.
talking about to start.
It starts with
What,
you.
okay.
And as far as I understand, and I may not be right, I may be wrong. I moved here a year and a half ago. It is to my knowledge that you were appointed. You were not voted in.
That's right, yes, sir.
Okay, yes, sir. So it starts with you, correct?
What is your opinion about the
My
police
opinion is
department?
it needs to completely be abolished because
Okay.
this whole council does.
Okay.
It starts with you, sir.
That's it.
You are sitting here telling every
That's your
citizen
opinion.
in this community that is here tonight that they
Okay.
cannot speak only on certain things. So you can slap that down.
We're
I haven't
gonna
had my
close
3
the
minutes.
opinion
I have not
because
had my
it's
3
getting
minutes. So my opinion doesn't matter in this Hanceville community, does it? Can you answer my question,
I
Mayor?
need him to be removed.
No, sir, I'm not going to be removed.
Yes, sir, you are.
Okay, absolutely.
You are.
Yes, sir.
You're gonna be
Thank you for
removed.
showing the community you
Sheriff,
don't know about.
can you? Okay, thank you. Okay, opinion, that's it. We're closing the opinion. Okay, all right.
I live in the county area of Hanceville. This is my opinion on the matter. I'm not going to get controversial. I think if you're affected by this matter, but I cannot vote for you because I don't live in the city limits, it should be open to a public forum and a vote to see who everybody wants to be protected by.
That's exactly what we're trying to do here tonight. That's exactly what this is all about.
That's all. It should be open to everybody affected by it, not just the people that live in the city limits of Hanceville that can vote for you or anybody else up here. That's just my opinion.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you.
Thank you for letting me.
I'm going to close the public comments, okay? I need.
Oh, it's you do here. Get your down.
Ryan, that's not the way you were talking to me a while ago.
He said, and you was close the comment. Hold on. Wait a second. Look, everybody on this panel up here knows who I am. I know you. Okay. You give 3 minutes. I will know.
No, ma'am, the comments are closed. We closed the public comment. No more public comment.
I'm telling you what. That was
I'm going to ask the clerk if she'll call the roll.
Counselor Stams? Counselor Dean Colquitt? Counselor Webb? Mayor Pro Tem Brown? Counselor Cornelius? Mayor Swan?
Here. Okay, you have the agenda before you. I'll need a motion to accept that agenda. Have a motion and a second to approve the agenda as been presented. All those in favor, please say aye. Any opposed? There is none. One item of business on the agenda this afternoon is the and future of the Hanceville Police Department. And Sheriff Gentry, since you're here, would you like to make any comments concerning the Sheriff Department? What we can expect, or how you plan to provide security and protection for Hanceville if that is what the council were to choose to do.
Sure. Yes, sir, Mayor. Let me see if I can get this thing here. There we go. So, I want to try to address both sides at the same time, but you know, I know there's a lot of fear and a lot of concerns, and we fully understand that. And so right now, I'm going to speak to the citizens of Hanceville and the community. So, you're feeling all kinds of emotions, and we know that. You can see it, you can feel it in the air. But let me say this: once we found out that there was issues and there was these indictments come down, then of course the mayor and them reached out to us and said, we need help. Now, I grew up here, this is my home, this is where our deputies, this is what we do, and so we said, listen, we're going to be here to help you. We're going to be here to work with you through this process, whatever you decide. This is y'all's decision, not mine. So the day this come down and the day we found out about this, we said, so most people don't know, at the Cullman County Sheriff's Office, you have all of Cullman County, and as a sheriff, you're the sheriff of all the county, not just one community here or there. I'm the sheriff of Hanceville, I'm the sheriff of New Canaan, I'm the sheriff of Good Hope. And so when this came down, we're very blessed in Cullman because we have a good working relationship with the community and everybody. So one of the first things we looked at the sheriff's office, when I'm fully staffed, I have around just shy of 170 employees. We have over what I call 100 gun totals. That's deputies, could be investigators, could be working at the courthouse, could be on patrol, could all the different areas that we cover at the sheriff's office. Then we run dispatch, and then we run the jail. So we have a detention facility that, you know, on an average day in and day out, we run 400 to 430 inmates. We house city inmates, we house county inmates, we house state inmates, and we house federal inmates. So when this come down, we knew that Hanceville was going to be in a process of hurt, anger, rebuilding to figure out what the mayor and the council can do that's going to best meet the needs of the citizens. So we told the mayor, on a certain day, your deputies would take over dispatching, or our dispatchers would take over dispatching and patrol in Hanceville. So let me explain our dispatching system. Most counties have a lot of municipalities in there. We don't have that in Cullman County. We only have 2 with law enforcement. That's the city of Hanceville and the city of Cullman. But we have 3 PSAPs. Now what that means is 3 dispatch centers. It's really a blessing because if a storm hits one, if the sheriff's office went down, then the city of Cullman or Hanceville could dispatch. So that was an easy switch for us to help out while we worked through this process. So at a certain time, we took over dispatching. Hanceville averages about 8,000 calls a year, just shy of 8,000. So what we did then is we took a deputy that's off duty, and we're paying them overtime to be solely in Hanceville. Just so you know how your deputies work. When our deputies come on duty, they come out in the community, they're on duty right then. They're not dispatched from the sheriff's office in the middle of Cullman. They're down here. So I know response time was always a big question that I've heard in this. So right now, and we've checked the numbers, our response time is the same or similar to what Hanceville Police Department was providing. Now, of course, our deputies have not been in this area a lot, so they're probably learning the streets and the roads and those kind of things. But so far, it's been a very smooth process while we're doing this. So that was kind of the first thing. We took over dispatching so they could work through the process. And then we have deputies that are down here that we're paying overtime to be in your area, to make sure that this area is taken care of, just like in our sheriff's office, we have 7 districts. So we just put a deputy down here like an 8th district. So that was the first part, to make sure that you're taken care of, that you never miss a beat. If you need help, the deputies are here. If something happened, let's say the deputy that works Hanceville, because I have this question, well, what happens if they make an arrest? If a deputy makes an arrest in Hanceville and they're transporting that prisoner to the Cullman County Detention Center, which is where they all go, then if there's a call comes out, then the 2 adjoining deputies that join this area, one of them would slide over and provide that law enforcement and catch those calls while maybe they're booking someone in at the detention facility. That way, the biggest thing, and this is what the mayor and the council expressed to me, is we know we're in a tough time, but we don't want our citizens to miss 1 ounce of anything as far as being protected. They told me that. They said, we want to make sure that they're not losing anything. They're upset, they're scared, they don't know what's going on, so that's the first thing we did. Now, there's a lot of questions and a lot of rumors, and I'm here to help the mayor and the council make decisions on what can best meet the needs of the citizens. And I will say this, I know the young lady that was up here asking about, well, some of these people work for us. That is correct. And when we fire law enforcement, it is the job of a chief of police. If I fire you or you leave, it is the job of that chief to call, like what we do at the sheriff's office. If you leave another law enforcement agency, or if you work a civilian job and you're coming into law enforcement, we do background checks, we take tests, we do all of these things to ensure an interview process. There's a whole big line of process before we hire someone. So if they did work there, because a couple of those guys did, but they were either terminated or left because they didn't meet our standards, then it's the responsibility of that law enforcement agency, because we flagged them with a post for them to call. So that should happen. I will say this, we never got any phone calls. I'm not blaming the mayor or the council. That is the job of the chief of police.
Yeah.
So that is his job, the one that they had to do those things. And you should have a process. So right now, it's looking at an average, and this is one of the things I wanted to talk to the mayor and council. Right now, we're providing 24-hour law enforcement, paying overtime, which I'll say we can do it, but we can't sustain that forever because our guys are working on their off days here. Again, we know that you can only work so much before you're just or slap out. But what it's averaging right now is about $25,000 a month is what it's costing us just on salaries to provide 24-hour law enforcement. That doesn't count vehicles, fuel, or anything else. That's just the basic 24-hour coverage with deputies assigned that are working in this area to the community. So, you know, I would ask, that's something maybe the mayor and the council, something that they'll talk about, looking at possibly reimbursing us. It would help, because that was something that we had not prepared for, just like y'all. We didn't know this was coming about. So, but it's a trying time, and you've got to figure out and work with the mayor and the council to say what is going to be the best for the community. So you've got some decisions, and so you can do this on many levels. Of course, mayor and council, y'all can rebuild an entire police department, dispatch center, jail. I mean, because that's what y'all always ran. We're more than happy to go into negotiations with y'all. If you don't want to run a jail, we already house city of Cullman inmates. We house county inmates. We house state inmates. We house federal inmates. That's an option. If you say we don't want nothing to do with the jail, we'll be more than happy to negotiate and talk with y'all about that. Same way with, if you say I don't want to run dispatch or jail, we'll meet and talk. Or if you say we don't want to do any of it, then we would meet and talk. I will say this, we've already looked at what it would take to cover for if the mayor and the council decided today and said, we don't want any more law, we don't want a police department. What it would take is a minimum of 20 employees for us to hire to make sure that everything and the needs is met That counts jail, dispatch, and patrol down here, and assigning another investigator to work all the felony cases in your area. So, and again, I'm here to help the mayor and the council, whatever y'all decide with the community. You know, we'll work with you through that process, whatever it takes to make it good for this community. This is a great community. So, I know, we'll talk. But this is a great community. I mean, if it wasn't a great community, you wouldn't have all these citizens here. You know, you can tell the citizens love their community. They want good law enforcement. They want good leadership. And so we're here to help. And again, I want to dispel, if there's rumors, we'll dispel rumors. Somebody asked me the question one time. They said, well, again, we didn't have anything to do with the investigation in Hanceville as far as the Ethics Commission or the State Bureau of Investigation. But this is what I wanted to say. We live in a good community. We have good law enforcement. And it is my job to get up and say that. You know, Hanceville's not a bad community. Anybody that says Hanceville's bad and crazy has never been around. I've been in some bad communities before. I've been in some rough places. We live in a good community because look at the number of citizens that are in here to say they love their community and they want to make it better. And so we're just here to help you make it better. So Mayor, Council, I'm here to answer any questions or thoughts that y'all may have, and I'll help you with any of that.
We're open for discussion.
Sheriff, on the patrol, what said 20 officers is what we, deputies would be, that's including dispatch, jail, and so forth. How many would that be as far as what you think would be sufficient? Is that the total amount we would be able to have, or is there a sufficient number that we could get by with as far as what we're used to as far as available deputies that you would have? And how long do you think it would take to get that number hired as far as if we started, say, in a month, how long would it take you to get 20 personnel hired in this day and time?
So kind of the question is, if we said completely take over Hanceville Police Department, first I would have to get approval from the county commission to hire that many more. What we would look at is adding 4 more to the detention facility, 4 more to dispatch that we already do, and then the other 12 would be in this area. What we would look at doing is have a lieutenant, a sergeant, an investigator, and the rest would be deputies that would be covering this 24 hours a day. That's kind of the way we have everything set up today to run. I mean, that's the way our operations run day to day, 24 hours a day. We have a lieutenant, typically 1 sergeant, could be 2 sergeants, depending on if they're an FTO supervisor or not, and they're running 24 hours a day. We have currently 14 investigators at the sheriff's office now, which we would want to add another investigator to handle all of the felony calls and any felony crime that happen within this jurisdiction. But I mean, as far as a time, once it's approved, then we would start going on recruitment to hire. As you know, it's not easy anymore to hire in law enforcement. It's a very tough situation to hire in law enforcement because most people don't want to come into a field where you're not going to make a lot of money, and no matter typically what happens, you're dealing with the worst of the worst situations. Just like this, I mean, if you had asked me 11 years ago when I get elected if I would be having this conversation, I would tell you no, I would have never thought, but we deal with the hand that is dealt, and we try to make it the best situation that we can.
What would that estimate? I know we can't get an exact figure due to the salaries at the hiring point, as far as any type of overtime, as far as transferring in officers to this area. Do we have a dollar figure that we're estimation of what that would cost for 20 new personnel coming from the sheriff's department?
So I would look at, again, when we add personnel, there's a lot of things that you've got to take into account. Of course, retirement, we would have to outfit new vehicles. I don't know if any of you've not had to buy patrol cars and put in blue lights, but I just bought 2 new patrol cars the other day. 2 patrol cars ran us $96,000. 2. That doesn't count blue lights and the equipment to go in them. That's another $30,000 on top of that. So, you know, first I would have to look at those numbers, the benefits that we have to estimate, but I would roughly, and I know somebody would probably fall out, but I would roughly say it would be about 1.7 million to take it over and do that. So I heard a question, and I can help. I know. So a satellite office, we have satellite offices already. And satellite offices for us, because our deputies stay in the community, you know, maybe if a citizen called and said, I need to meet somewhere, maybe, you know, they could meet at the satellite office, use the restroom, do paperwork. It keeps them in the community. Currently we have satellite offices in Baileyton, Good Hope, Garden City, Crane Hill, now. And it just keeps our deputies in the area, and it gives them a place. Again, I don't know, I know most of you've probably not been out at night, but, you know, if you're out at Crane Hill at midnight, and it's hard to find a place to stop and use the restroom sometimes. So we keep satellite offices for that.
How come you can't use the same vehicles that Hanceville already has?
Those belong to the city of Hanceville, so that could be something that could be negotiated.
How many officers did you say would be in Hanceville?
We would look at putting, when I say 12, at least 12 APOs certified deputies down here.
That's 6 per shift.
No, ma'am, that's 2 per shift. So we would run 2 per shift, day, night, with a floater, a lieutenant, a sergeant, and a investigator.
If we decided to look at putting on our police department temporarily, what kind of contract to sign up?
No. So the one thing I would ask is that, you know, we're covering it. Our guys are coming in. Our guys and girls are coming in on overtime. I would ask that maybe it be something that maybe y'all come up with pretty quickly as far as decisions on what direction y'all want to go. But, you know, we could maintain without just running them in the ground for a few months. You know, I would say 3-4 months. Again, and all we would ask is you just reimburse their overtime. It could be a little more than $25,000, or it could be a little less, but that's kind of the average. I spoke to the county administrator today, and he said that's what we're looking at spending the month. And of course, we would provide a detailed list of the deputies and the hours, just like we do when we contract with other agencies like Wallace. When we work the ball games at Wallace and they reimburse, it's the same thing that we do then. So, and I guess my question to you is, if that is, what level would you want? Would you want us doing all of it? Of course, you know, of course the jail's easy, but would you want us doing the dispatching too? Would you want us to do just patrol and y'all run your own dispatching jail? So it would really be what level that y'all would want us to operate at. Yes, ma'am.
What would it take for something to have offered the option of allowing the citizens to vote? What would it take to add it on to the special election for District 11? That's what is made.
I don't know. That's a good attorney question. I'm not an attorney, so I'd have to do that. She was asking about putting it on the ballot to whether or not to have a police department or not in Hanceville, putting it on the ballot.
You're asking for a poll, basically, it's fair enough, like you can call everybody on the phone.
So I don't know about municipal law, but I can tell you under county law. So if there's an issue that we want citizens to vote on in the county, just like I'll go back to 2018, we voted out remember the old timey food bill law where sheriffs had to do all that? So we put it on the ballot and we put it out to the citizens, and I gave up, and you can Google, there's interviews and videos of why we want you to vote to get this changed. So I had the legislature put it on the ballot, so that means that the state representatives passed it in the House, then it went to the Senate, and then the Senate passed it, and it put it on our ballot. And then, of course, hey, we were a win in Cullman. We voted it out at 88%, and that changed the law, and it gave us a constitutional amendment to that law.
Well, you have a special election in your way, but the only ever has to be either. But you do have a municipal election coming on. Yeah.
So you should talk about it. In the other constitutional amendment, all of those things have to be done. This is not a procedure that you voted on by the council. It is a council. And what you're thinking, what you were asking is how would you have, you want it to be basically full. There is no law that says.
Well, it was mentioned to let the citizens decide, and would that not go right along with choosing the council?
Constitutional amendment. And that's what you're talking about in the state level.
Can you speak in your microphone so the rest of us can hear you?
No, I'm sorry, the answer to the question is, if you put that on, the only thing that you can vote on would be just a poll, basically. In other words, it's not a law that you can change. If you did, you could change it statewide, which would be constitutional amendment. So it would not be a practical law, there's no mechanism to do it. It's just talking about putting it on the ballot, it's not constitutional.
Well, and I can help. So I think the biggest thing what Mr. Willingham was saying is it's not a law for you to have a police department. You know, that's not a law. That's a choice and a decision that's made by the mayor and the council. So.
That's exactly, I understand that it is, a lot of municipalities have police departments. I think if you go to one county, you'll find probably what, 8 or 10 or something.
I know Morgan County has 7 police departments in Morgan County. So.
It has 2, but there's no requirement whatsoever. That is purely a local decision. The municipality has its own decision to have a police department or not. You can have a police department and not a jail. If it does not have a jail, then it has to be discussed with the sheriff how to have a jail. Because there's such a location there. But it's not a requirement to have a court system or police, or reserve police.
Our votes and all what we have to say, and our votes really doesn't matter.
Nothing really matters. The votes always matter. Let me kind of cover it. I'm kind of cover it. People say they got the first one right. Everybody has the first one right. This party here would never, ever want to interfere with anybody's first one. But you understand the way the law is, this is a meeting that the population is invited to. It is a meeting of the council. Actually, a lot of places never have anybody speak. So it's not a constitutional right issue. You have a right to say, but not necessarily at this point. The council has been very liberal to hear everybody's comments. So it's the opposite of what you think. They're really giving you a lot more than the law is. But my answer to the other question is, the municipality makes a decision. You have your right to vote on the elected officials who make that decision, which is almost universally true. If the citizens voted on every issue before them, that's all we would do is we sit in a polling place. You're elect, democratically, you're elected in this republic a representation that makes the result of the decision. I think the argument there, citizens.
And I'll address this. So I know there was one, I heard somebody ask a question, well, how do we know that, like, the deputy sheriffs are trained and all this? So we do have a rigorous, when we hire somebody, whether it's in the jail or go into patrol or what, those so that we do, you know, an FTO program. We have a rigorous hiring program where, you know, if you're going to work in the jail, you're going to the road, you got to take physical fitness tests, you have to take psych evaluations, you have to do all of these things. When you go to the road, you have to be paired up with a field training officer and pass all of those requirements before you're put out on your own. So it's not just here's a gun, here's a badge, you go out and do what you want to. So, and that's the way we're set up in law enforcement to run an agency, especially the size of the sheriff's office. To reiterate, we've been housing city inmates since '05. We built our facility in '05. We've been housing city of Cullman inmates since then. And of course, like I said before, we got county, state, and feds. So, you know, we're here to help whatever we need to do. But questions?
What's the current budget of the police department? The current budget of the PD for Hanceville?
Right at 1.5 million. That's salaries and basic operational costs. It's not any equipment like Matt was referring to, squad cars. That's not in that number of assets. That is just operating costs. So it's about $1 million personnel salaries and then about $500,000 worth of operating costs.
And you got to remember too, when you do that, you got the insurances. You know, we have to have insurance coverage. We have to have equipment where you're outfitting deputies. There's a lot more, of course, fuel and all the other resources that goes into it. So it's not a cheap thing anymore to do. Questions?
I just want to say, there going into this, the thing of it is, when this was come down on us as a city, we still have officers that are on leave right now. Yeah. And they were not involved and dispatchers, that's right. That were not involved in the indictment. That is something that and we want y'all to be happy with what our decisions are, because y'all important to us. I know I've got people sitting out there pointing fingers, but I'm here to tell you, we're up here taking this from all y'all that are so negative towards us. We're sitting here taking this with every thought that runs through one's mind of being responsible. And I just want to say that there's a lot, and we've thought about, we've investigated. I have been to the Cullman Police Department this week. I have talked to their chief and their assistant chief. They have offered us assistance as far as training. So, look, we're not sitting on our hands thinking, we can't do this. Either you guys want it or you don't. And that's what it's like. We want it. We want it. We want it.
We hear you, and like I said, August 26th is when you can make a difference. If you're not satisfied with this mayor and council, you can make a difference then. But right now, we've got to make a decision, that this group has to make a decision of what we're going to do, okay? Well, that could be the decision. That is the decision that this group has to make. That's where we're trying to get to tonight. Is where do we go from here? What decision do we make? And that is a possibility. Yes, ma'am.
What about the safety of the children in the community?
Ma'am?
What about the safety of the children in the community? I have cars flying up and down my street left and right.
There you go.
We're paying for
Exactly.
these county officers to be here, and I don't even want it. I live in this
Well,
Yeah.
and we
So
understand.
tell me where you live at. Louise Street?
Yeah.
Okay.
Right off these railroads, and
Okay.
we fly up and down there.
All right. Do you know what time?
It's like in the afternoon, like
Okay.
right after school is released, so you have kids in the neighborhood, they're all outside playing,
We-
they're fighting.
Sure.
And I'm outside with my son, so I see all these cars that are flying by.
Sure.
And I'm not seeing, cops in my,
Okay.
the police department has this van. They're not changing that. I don't see cops driving by often.
Sure. So I will say this, the deputies are down here, I'll make sure that they get on Louise Street. I've got Lieutenant Whaley in the back, so we'll take a note on Louise, you said Louise Street? Okay, okay. Sure. Sure. And let me say this, if y'all have problems like speeders and stuff like that, you're more welcome, if you can email us those concerns. We have a system on our email system at the sheriff's office. Of course, if you see a deputy, hey, stop and talk to them, and or through Messenger on Facebook, we have our guys check it. So if you have those concerns or close, what we call close patrols, then we'll get those issued with the lieutenant. So yeah. No, they will. Louise Street. Okay. Yeah, Lieutenant Whaley's got it.
What's the email address?
It should be CullmanSheriff.org. See, Vernon's over there asking me hard questions. Yes, ma'am. That's overtime, correct? Mm-hmm. Sure. So they were not sheriffs. I don't know who they're not sheriffs. No, yeah. Okay. Okay, and that's Ashwonder Street? Okay. Yeah, we don't want Dukes of Hazzard, so we'll let them know that. True. True.
My concern to that is that they're out there ticketing it correct. However, they're not responding like they were before.
True.
So if they increase in the city like they have, trying to get all our students, I have females in here.
Sure. Well, I think that was troopers, and I'll tell you, okay, I'll tell you a funny joke about deputies, okay? So what do you call a sheriff that writes a lot of speeding tickets? No, unemployed. So we don't have it. So our guys are out there, you know, making sure everybody, but I'll make sure that they know that. And again, you got to remember, our guys are learning these streets too. You know, when I started at the sheriff's office, I had the little paper map, and I would look at all my roads. Now these guys have got GPSs and all kind of stuff, but no. And I'll know this, let you know this. At the sheriff's office right now, we answer just shy of 80,000 calls for service a year. So our deputies are extremely busy. And so they're typically on call to call, and a lot of times, if they can sit up for just a second, they do rest. So yeah, sure. Just remember that joke I told you. So, but Mayor, Council, anything? And I'll say something to Ms. Tucker too. I know you went to the city, and I know you have a connection to the city with the police department. But anything that you need, or the council needs, I mean, we're double the size of the city of Cullman in law enforcement. From running a jail, they don't run a jail. They don't run a courthouse. They don't run civil process. They don't do all of these things. On the training, we do a ton of training. We built a training facility that we host training for free for law enforcement. So if y'all decide to keep with the police department, call. We do. Lieutenant Whaley back here is one of the greatest trainers we have. So we do all kind of trainings up there. It's free. It doesn't cost you anything. That's the reason we built the facility on site at the sheriff's office, is so you can send law enforcement there. They can receive training, and it doesn't cost those agencies anything. So just know that's an option too. Yes, sir. So we wouldn't do that per shift, but sure. Mm-hmm. Sure. Sure. Yeah. Well, and let me say this. When it comes to the decisions that the mayor and the council make, we're neutral. You know I'm standing up here because, you know, the mayor, the council, they've asked, hey, can you come and help us? You know, there's a lot of fear and a lot of questions. But at the end of the day, I'm neutral to the decision that y'all make. If whatever you make is your decision, and we will work with you every step of the way. And I think if anybody says that we won't, then they don't know us very well at the sheriff's office, because from day one we said, here we are, we will do whatever it takes to make sure our citizens are taken care of. And so, again, we're neutral to the decisions y'all make, but we can provide you information, we can help you, but at the end of the day, for us at the sheriff's office, we're neutral. We're just here to provide a service and help y'all with anything that you need.
Sheriff, I just want to say, when I submit that video,
yes, sir.
I fear retaliation.
Sure.
That's the reason why they come forward right away.
Sure.
And after when I heard what happened to Mr. Campbell, I felt compelled to come forward and
Sure.
say what I think.
Sure.
I'm going to leave a
Report.
Yes, sir.
you assure me that I will face no retaliation.
You're good with us. There's no retaliation. So, yeah, you're good with us. So.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, ma'am.
Okay, council. Mayor. Thank you, sir. Talk with him afterwards,
Any new officers that come in and see something bad, they run and get out of that. Because they don't want to be a part of it, but they won't fail out of fear of retaliation and get sent. So it needs to be done. And what I'm going to ask you tonight, I'm going to ask you all of y'all the same thing. Pick up the phone, 143, 160. Okay? What's that? You can vote right now. All of y'all stand up. That council has to vote. It was submitted, he wasn't elected. It was submitted. This council has to vote to have him removed.
Thank you, sir.
Can't be removed without a 2/3 vote.
Thank you, sir.
But you're
Thank
the
you.
police chief's boss.
Thank you, sir. We appreciate your comment.
You're good.
Sheriff Gentry, we appreciate your comment, speaking with us, okay?
Yes, sir. And I'll leave this with you, Mayor. You or any members of the council that want to meet and review the policies and procedures that we have in place, if you want to go through dispatch, patrol, we'll throw you in a patrol car and let you ride around, whatever you'd like to do. We'll be there to work with you every step of the way and help take care of the community. Again, to the citizens, we're out there. We're going to be taking care of you. If you have issues, you're going to see your deputies around, talk to them, and we'll take care of you, okay?
Thank you.
Thank y'all.
Thank you.
Sure. Okay, council, we're open to discussion.
Well, I'd like to council to consider making a motion for the police department for evaluation for 60 to 90 days. So is this kind of evaluate and find out, what we know and what we don't know. Also, Patty, we already talked to Cullman and also some other issues. We can follow up on some of those and talk to some of the businesses here, business people. They want to have offices.
That's right.
And so I think it's very important for this community to have an office department. But there's a lot of things we have to evaluate.
That's right.
Besides whether you get some quality people, which one of the things we talked about was having a hiring committee that's not just placed on the mayor's responsibility as it been in the past. And that, several of us will be on that committee and, evaluate and move through the process of potential changes to be on the police department. The other thing we have to consider is our existing officers that we have and the people that are in dispatch. We have to, what's fair to do. So there's things that we have to evaluate. We hate to lose people, good people. So I think we need time to evaluate. 30 days for the first part, and then, the next 30 days or 45 days to decide what to do from that point.
Yes,
I agree with you, John. I think the main concern here is that a lot of people voice their opinion that a police department is what this community needs. The one thing that I do want more than anything is to make sure that police department performs and does exactly what they're supposed to do and have the integrity and the skill set to perform at a high level that we can all be proud of. Exactly. And that we've definitely heard you. We want that too. We live here, have property here. I mean, I definitely want that also. So I don't think there's a person up there that doesn't. My opinion would be, though, it's going to take longer than that period. So I don't know how far that would be. It'd be a 6-month period, a year to evaluate and get a chief hired, someone to come in and have an organization come and evaluate what it would take to get us that organization of a police department, be it chief, be it investigator, the infrastructure, and then what that cost would be, what we could afford. Well, right now we're at the $1.474 million, right, 1.5. We have the equipment that's established there, but as far as every year, it's going to have to replace those assets, so there is going to be some cost there. But I would want to know for sure, just like Sheriff Griffin said, do we have the budget to actually have a 20 personnel force? I don't know if we have that, or if we get a professional organization, which we've got many emails from Internal Order of Police, different organizations that will do that at no cost, which is one of the best things there is as far as that's what they perform. A lot of organizations, also unions and things of that nature, organizations that send us their ability to do that for us. That I would think it was going to take more than 90 days. I think more than 6 months, especially to a year, to get that department built back into a situation that we could really express what we really want for the community. And that's trust, the integrity, and the skill set where they're trained and that they can do the job that we need them to do. But I think that would be a longer period than 90 days. So I definitely agree with you that building the department up, and that's the problem with bridging that gap with the sheriff department, is that they cannot hire additional officers without that contract. And I understand that being in the economics of the situation in the business world, economically, he cannot take on that responsibility without hiring additional officers. And without a contract, he cannot take that responsibility without financially, as far as the budget, his budget work, which I express my gratitude for Matt coming here and talking to us and telling us the real economics of the situation. But I think it's going to be a longer period, at least 6 months. If we found the right, and I'm good with the committee hiring an individual that could come in and build that department, that is the right individual to come build that department from the ground up, start completely fresh. And I do hate it for the individuals that have nothing to do with this, because it is terrible. They had nothing to do, just like us, not knowing exactly what's going on over there. There's no way that those individuals, this is fair to them, but there is really nothing we can do as far as we can afford to keep paying them, and to pay the sheriff's department $25, if we go down to $25,000 a road, to keep that debt in a month. So start fresh, hire individuals to build from the ground up, and if that's 6 months, great. If that's a year, great. As long as we do it right.
I agree about doing it the right way with integrity. I think we also are really going to have to look at the policies and the handbook and the rules that were followed or not followed, and we need to put in some very strict guidelines that our employees need to follow. There needs to be a process by which all people are disciplined if they do something wrong, and it needs to be consistent, and it needs to be fair for every single person, every single time. We can't look and put anything under the rug. It has to be out there, you have to be held accountable. And if we don't hold people accountable, and we don't know, then we're in this mess. So as officials, it is our job to review a handbook in this process of hiring people and finding people, if that's what we decide to do. We have to give them the tools by which they can make this department right and fair and have integrity and follow the path it's to follow. We can't just go in and say, okay, you come run it without, okay, here's the law. And this is what we expect. And if you do this, this will happen. It's not about who you are or where you are or who you're related to or where you came from. This is going to happen to any person that violates these rules. It has to be that way. That's just my opinion.
It should have been that way.
The sheriff's office should have the sheriff's department around.
Right? Should have been that way.
So that will make that easier. Exactly. And Sheriff, would you be willing to do that?
Yes.
Yes, ma'am. And Mr. Cornelius is right. It starts with the top. So hiring the chief is the most important thing that you can do, because the right chief sets the right tone for everyone there, and lets them start evaluating the rest of the employees that are still working for the city of Hanceville Police Department. And I agree that the sooner that can happen, the sooner that process starts on evaluating.
Who does the background of that chief?
The council can, and then we have a captain at the sheriff's office. Between us and the city, we would be more than happy. I'm not speaking for Chief Duncan, but we would be more than happy to sit down with the mayor and the chief to go through the background check of any potential chief that y'all want to hire and do the same process that we would.
Yes, and it would be an outside agency that does that background check. It's not just picking up the phone saying, you see a good guy, it's a paid business that does that for you as far as any kind of criminal activities, anything. Yes, ma'am.
Yes, sir. No, listen, I'll retire at the end of this time, so. Ooh, I don't know about that. Well, thank you for the offer. And let me say this to the mayor and the council. If you decide and you go through the process and figure out a chief, then that chief would have access to our policies, procedures, everything that we do to be compliant. And that way you're not recreating the wheel. So, and again, we'll be working with whoever it is that y'all might decide upon. So, if it... That's right. I tried to stay out of trouble.
Can we make it match as far as what, I know your department's performing now at a high level as far as the hours are put in, but can we make it a 6 month or, I mean, would that be a possibility through you as far as trying to get to that point? As far as having an officer in the jurisdiction, which is our main goal, is to keep an officer in our jurisdiction.
Well, and let me say this, even if for some reason we couldn't, you're going to still have deputies that are going to be covering it. It doesn't matter. We'll still, our districts are 150 miles, so our deputies cover about 150 square miles by themselves. So, but again, we would overlap those areas if we couldn't maintain that rate for that long. But I would say, this is my opinion, I'm like you, the consensus sounds like they prefer to keep their own law enforcement agency. I think the start of it is hiring the right chief. As soon as that happens, we'll go to work with that chief, saying, you know, all the things that they may need, and we'll support that role until y'all can make additional hires and all that. And I think as you start to do that, then you can see our levels starting to decrease. So I think once those things start to happen, then you can see what we would have to do for y'all to decrease.
Yeah, hopefully it would be a quicker process, but I don't think that was for a 6 month process. I think that's attainable. Possible. Yeah. It just depends on the individuals.
Sure.
As far as goes there, but I don't know if I just didn't put a stress on your department where you couldn't, SO couldn't handle it. And I hate to ask the deputies that do that kind of overtime and that much time?
Well, again, my biggest thing is I'll work with you day and night, it doesn't matter to me, to ensure that it's the quickest, smoothest transition for y'all.
I think if, and I've personally spoken to someone who's been recommended, and my understanding, and I've also spoken to one of the mayors in another city and his chief, and this person comes highly recommended. But let me tell you what he said to me, and I'll tell you also what the chief of police in Cullman told me. He said you can always get outside people to be on this hiring committee, and he recommended that we get maybe one person that is here in the city to be on it as well, to be a liaison for the citizens. If you don't trust what we have to say, they're there, they know what's going on. And he made the recommendation that we use other outside policemen to come in and be a part of that hiring process. So that was one thing. And I have talked to a couple of people that are interested that contacted us. And just to say, they have reached out and they are willing to come in and help organize and help us get our police department. And this person is a retired person. It's one of many things that Jimmy has got several candidates that has notified him. So that's something we have to give a great thought to. It's not about us. It's about doing what's right. This has hurt us terribly as a city. It's been a horrible injustice to our city what's happened with the officers that were indicted. And we're not for overlooking any of that. That's not what this is about. We've got to get our people covered. So you guys feel secure. That you can go out in your yard in the evening, the children can be out. That's what it's about.
And accountability for the officers that do wrong.
Absolutely, absolutely. We want the very best, and the sheriff says they're willing to offer any schooling. Cullman Police Department has done the same thing. They have offered to help. Any school they have, they've opened their doors for anybody that we hire to come up there and be trained. So we've got a go-go with this and Cullman Police Department. I've said it. I just want you guys to know.
Any other discussion? Okay.
Like I said, I think in a 6-month year process is what I would like to make a motion to suspend the police department as it is now, and to give a 6-month to a year possible to hire a new.
6 months to a year?
Excuse me, but I'm just saying to hire now, but wait and rebuild the department in 6 months to a year.
So what are you going to release it into their next day? They're all
I don't know how we cannot rehire them now. I mean, as far as right now, they cannot work for the sheriff's office.
Well, you have one paying administrative leave, so you're talking about.
We'd have to lay them off. Either lay them off.
We're entitled to unemployment.
I'm not going there. Don't vote on that tonight. Do not vote on that tonight.
Sorry. I don't know what you're doing. Disaster. Industrial force of will. And the statute, there's a talk about how to anybody on administrative leave for an extended period of time. But it does, if you put them on administrative leave for the pay, then of course you can do that. But if you take them off of the payroll, then they recommend that we proceed through it as if it's a disciplinary. You don't want to state that, the statutes will cover how to do it. Because I'm not saying that people that drive in the administrative not be used to anything. I'm not saying that you're wrong doing this wrong. But they recommended to believe that we go through action procedurally the same as it is a discipline. I don't want to say it is a discipline because that's not what it would do. It's basically a reduction in force when you do that information that's been given. That makes sense. They said, give them a hearing. There is a due process. Law enforcement law enforcement is typically for you.
Can't hear you.
I'm doing the best I can. You know, I get told that often, and I don't have very strong talking about how to, if you take an employee, and I'm emphasizing that that's not an accusation that they've done anything wrong, but that legal municipality recommended to see there's lower than that statute. And this specifically says we've made so that they have not to be heard, so.
Hey, can I ask a question? What's the ratio now of the sheriff's office controlling the area and what it was when we had 4 police? We got 1 officer, or we have 2, we have 4.
Most of the time, we have 1 to 2 officers patrolling, and now we have 1 deputy in the police jurisdiction. So sometimes we have 2 officers on duty, and sometimes 1, and then, of course, chief, if he's available.
Okay, Mr. Canese, did you want to make a motion? Real quick.
I would like to see it fixed. Somebody else should have to come in behind. If it happened under Rule 1, I would like to see it. I would like to see a chief hired almost immediately, that meets the criteria, and immediately to hire people, evaluating the current staff that we're seeing, and we should require them to do, put them back on payroll, and before we see it, as possible, while taking all that into consideration. Not keeping that, there's a lot of information and stuff to do in a short amount of time. But a chief that is qualified can immediately start with the city, with the county, whoever else, and start the hiring process. Start the evaluation process.
Now, Mitch understood what I was saying is it would be up, he could start immediately, we're looking for a chief, but it would take up to 6 months. So I say to, now as far as the individuals that's there now, I cannot guarantee them what we can do with them and pay the sheriff's department. We cannot continue with an administrative leave if we don't have a department. But I don't know how long that's going to be. If we hired a chief tomorrow, that's great, but I don't know if we can get that even committee together to get that.
Can I say
Yes,
something?
exactly. That's reason. It could be a monthly process compared to something that can happen overnight. It's not going to be, I definitely don't want to start and we're in the same situation, this community's in the same situation in 2 years from now. Because most of all these stories I've heard last council meeting and this one also is stuff that's happened not last year, but last year, the year after, before that, year before that. So it's not an early, it's something that's been a continuation. So we want to fix it now, fix it right. But if we rush it, I'm afraid we'll be right back in the same.
All right, so you want to make a motion?
You want to make a motion? I love my town. I love my police department. I'm going to be honest. It scares me to death. I'm afraid of these top men, except for the ones that I really believe in. I know my sheriff. I know. But I am so afraid of these police. Because they have targeted my family so. Mayor, that's
That's the say something about this. I'm say something. Can I say something? Let him talk. I just want something back.
We got you. We got you. Yeah.
I want to know if I understand this correctly. The motion that you're making, what the people that are on administrative leave right now, the employees that did nothing, what's going to happen to them? I mean,
That would have to be determined. It sure would. So
what was the motion to do away with?
The motion would be to suspend the police department and start immediately looking for a chief to rebuild the police department. Now, as far as being able to keep those employees with a RIF, which is what Dan just went over, we do not have the capabilities to keep paying them on administrative leave because we have no educated answer on how long this is going to take. And no, I understand that they did not have anything. I mean, I'm not saying they did have anything, didn't have anything. I'm just saying we have no other option except without a police department continue paying 12. Jimmy, how many we have right now on administrative leave? 12 employees without having, a police department and paying the sheriff's deputies to continue.
Aren't some of those that's on administrative leave though officers?
Yes, we have 4 officers all that's left on administrative leave. The rest are dispatched in records. Now that would be the sheriff. Like I said, they would have the sheriff's, if he's doing, his office is doing everything, so there is no cross, like they work for him some, work for us some, because it would be the sheriff's office till we get our department back established. I think in my motion I would like to add what Patty recommends as far as a committee.
And I would concur with that.
That's right.
We would definitely let him come, and if we it being open, it would be an open forum.
Yes.
All right.
With the citizen, which what Patty I think proposed, and I'll let her correct me if I'm wrong, but having a citizen on that committee, so that would be a citizen on that committee, which I have no problem putting that in my motion, which this is just my motion, it's not, it's just to be discussed.
Well,
if it doesn't catch a second, so.
Well, we've got a process here, and we need if we have a council member that wants to make a motion, then we have to get a second on that, and then we have to see how the council votes. So you have a motion you'd like to make.
Yes, sir.
Go ahead, make that motion.
To suspend the police department as we know it now. Start immediately to search for a chief and let him rehire under his leadership and rebuild the police department. I do not know, and I do not know any other way that I can, unless tell me or anyone else, I'd love to hear it, what we can do with those employees.
Hey, hold on. Excuse me. Okay.
We care about the community.
So you're making that motion. Is that your motion?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now, we need a second to that motion before we can go any further. So I have a second to the motion.
Let me say this, Mr. Mayor.
Yes, sir. Okay.
Would it help to retain your employees, because we're not under contract, and y'all not giving us a dime, and we've not come and sent an invoice. If we said, hey, let's push it off another month and let us look, give y'all a month to take applications, try to hire somebody, because you can do a lot of background checks and stuff in a month. If you're not paying us, and theoretically, I don't know, that's an attorney question, but y'all could kind of float the boat down the river for a little bit And
It's an economics
yeah.
question, it's not.
So if we said, hey, look, let's put off anything that y'all reimburse us for a little bit and let y'all hire a chief, that way they can get a chief hired, and then the new chief, and then they can start the rebuilding process and re-interviewing of all the employees that you have. Now, it would be up to the new chief whether they keep or not.
Well, that was what I was getting at. He would have to start fresh anyway, so they would not have a job till he or she rehired. And so that's the reason why, due to the risk of the reduction, if we don't have a department, that's the reason trying to stay in the legality of it, either lay them off or be rehired. I know we can immediately start looking for a chief. This could be a week, it could be 2 weeks. Now, I don't know that.
If we did that, would that help y'all?
Oh, definitely.
Make sure that they're okay, the employees are okay, and then y'all can start rebuilding fresh. Is that something, I guess legally, can they do that? So I don't have a problem with that. We'll continue to do what we're doing. You know, if you want to push it down another month, that way all of your employees are getting paid and they're taken care of and their families. And then that gives you another month or so to start the interview process and start taking applications immediately for a chief, start the vaccine process with the committee. I'm okay with that if y'all are. So, okay.
Would you like to rescind your motion, or we can stay
I think that's your decision. And I don't want to put that on you, but I think that I'm just to suspend the department as we have it now and hire a chief and let him rebuild, which would be rehire each individual, so they would not have a job until the chief rehired. Because I don't think any chief is going to come in here without that ability to hire their own department. Now, as far as how long to be on administrative leave, with that gracious offer from Sheriff Gentry, I mean, we have the economics work out the financials that we can do that for longer, and have other duties for them. We could do whatever you would like as far as other duties. But I mean, I don't want anybody to lose their job. Nobody asked for this except for people that committed a crime.
They can't afford it any more than you could.
No, ma'am. And that's what I'm up here trying to fight, trying to do, but we're trying to do it as best case possible. I don't want anybody to lose their job. Nor did I want to be up here making this decision if we have a police department on. Because the fact is...
You should know we're all here.
Oh yes, I'm saying it. And I'm hearing you, and I'm trying to do what's best for y'all and for the city as a whole. And I know it doesn't look like that, but it is. In my opinion, I'm only one. I'm only one voice, one vote. So as far as the rest of it goes.
We're two are together, he's in the midst, so we're all here.
Okay, so we've heard from the sheriff, we've heard his idea, so restate your motion so we'll have it clear on it, okay?
As far as the league, that's up to the mayor. So to suspend the police department as we know it, and to immediately search for a new police chief to rehire from the ground up the new department. Each individual has to be rehired, and to suspend operations till that is established and has fulfilled his obligation to the council feels has fulfilled his obligation to restart the department.
Okay, so we have a motion. Do I have a second?
Let me get this clear. We'll continue to suspend those that were not indicted. Is that what you're saying? They will not.
He's saying that
Now, as far as administrative leave, if you want to own administrative now, that's up to you on that part. Attorney, you can make that decision for a month.
But the sheriff has said that he will among this
And to completely send the department and the community and I will add to that motion your committee with the media of the citizens and other professional police. Then we need 5, is that good? Really 5? But the media 5, start looking at and to rehire a new police. And at that time, the chief can reevaluate every individual and go from there. Or reestablishing.
Okay, do I have a second to that motion? Have a motion and a second. All those in favor, will you let it know by saying aye? Any opposed? There is none, the ayes have it. I have a motion to adjourn.
I'm filing for unemployment. Y'all have a good night.
Have a motion to adjourn, I have a second.